Alrighty guys, how you going? So last video, way too long. Let's try to cut it down a bit. But I just wanted to basically go over what I do when I learn a new track before I show you on track. So first off, I learn the general layout. So that's the lefts and the rights, where the straights are, and basically the parts to avoid. That's a big one. So if I'm trying to not use a certain section of the track, or I think I need to just stay away from that section, that's very important. And then also the grooves and also the cambered sections of the track. So that leads on to where I'm going to try and get my tires positioned when I'm taking the ideal line. Okay, so after I go and I've kind of learned the general lay of the track, I'll start to explore track limits. Now this is important to do before you start to piece together any sections or anything, that you know the full extent of the track that you can use, so that you can use the widest line, cutting corners as much as you humanly can, if it's worth track time. So at that point I move on to car specific stuff. So I look at whether I'm going to be driving the car. I look at whether the car that I'm using on the track is going to be a downforce car, say a formula car, something of the sort, maybe a GT3, or a high or a low torque car. So right now I'm driving around in V8s specifically. So I'm trying to learn Long Beach for the Super 2s, which are basically a league is deeming a V8 legacy car as the Super 2. So I'm trying to learn how to get a brick around Long Beach for fun. Alright, so after I do that, I try and break the track down into segments, and I learn each one of those segments before moving on. Now, when I'm breaking those parts of the track down into segments, I'm looking for my brake zones and my turn-in points. So I'm going from within the limit, and I'm starting to push forward. Once I work out where my brake marker is, how much I need to slow down, how hard I need to brake to slow the car, and I need to push the limits there so I can find that ideal kind of start a brake, end a brake, turn in. Do I need to trail? Do I need to get off the brake really quickly to punch a heap of weight on the nose to get some nose authority? Like, that's all the kind of stuff that I do when I'm learning tracks. So once I've got those markers, I need to start to identify which part of the track I'm trying to position my car at or around. So that's bringing back in those the cambered areas, the grooves. If I need to touch curbs to get a little bit more turn in, how hard I can hit some curbs. That's all very, very important when learning tracks. So the V8 specifically, which I'm trying to learn at the moment, a big part of it is how much speed do I need to arrest into a corner to get the rotation started, and at what part of the corner, be it mid-corner, late corner, can I start applying the throttle? How smoothly do I need to apply that throttle? If I can square the corner up, I can get on the throttle pretty quickly and get acceleration out of it. I'm finding a lot of the slower speed corners around Long Beach, not really taking a sweeping arc. I'm actually getting on the accelerator quite quickly, quite abruptly, obviously just trying to avoid the wheel spin. So anytime you get wheel spin in those V8s, you're not doing yourself any justice. You're just taking life out of that tyre. Okay, so once I've kind of identified all that, I can start to piece together segments of the track. Once I get a segment nailed, confident with it, I move on to the next section. Once I start putting all those sections down, I should have a pretty good idea of how I'm going to go about getting around a lap of the track that I'm on. And at that point, it's all about consistency. Just put the time in, put the laps in, and eventually you'll find some sort of consistency. Takes me a little bit longer. In this video, it took me about 45 minutes before I kind of achieved what I knew from the outset. So I did start learning Long Beach from scratch, and I ended up taking about 45 minutes before I put down a 1 minute 19 in these things, and that was in kind of quality trim. So I've still got a bit of time to find there. So I did a 19.6 at the time, and I think my optimum was maybe a 19.1. I've now done a 19.2 once I've nutted the last sector a little bit. So I'm still looking for consistency. My race is tomorrow night, so I've got heaps of time. So yeah, alright guys, I'll crack into the video. Cheers. Alright guys, how are we? So today's going to be a different kind of video. I'm here to learn Long Beach. First got Long Beach when I first bought the game, about 9 months ago, sim. And one of my very experienced friends said, "Oh, grab the IndyCar, grab Long Beach, I'm doing a hosted session, come and have a play." Here I am just doing my Mazdas and my Formula V's, and I jump in and I'm like, whoa! It's kind of like... So basically, when I'm learning a track, what I do is, first off, I learn the lefts and the rights. I try and come to terms with what corner leads into what corner, how I'm going to attack entry, mid-corner, exit, according to the lay of the course. And once I've done that, I can start to attack each corner a little bit, and then I can start to work out my brake markers. So, for example, I know this is just a long sweeping right, so we're going to cut the course as much as we can. This one, I started about 500 meters, started smacking the brake, going down the gears into second, releasing the brake, trailing in, hitting a little bit of that curb, turn you in, you sweep out towards this wall. Alright, then we brake really hard, down into first, cut a little bit of this curb here, clips you, turns you in, on the accelerator nice and smooth. Second gear, dab of the brakes, off the brake as we're turning in, sweeping out towards this wall, hold second, limiter bash. Now we want to turn in really early for that one, so it's about 10-15 meters before the signage on the left hand side there. Alright, this one here, I'm going to hit about 270 meters, down to second gear. Alright, releasing, trailing in, you want to be well under control, no wheel spin. Slowly on the power, and we come, bring it out again, 250, hard brake, down into second, not first. I'm going to cut that corner, much as we can, slowly on the accelerator, nice and smooth with our inputs. This one, I was aiming for about 450 feet. Hard on the brakes, down into third, releasing, cutting the corner, right hand side on that smooth curbing, back out, wide, a little bit of accelerator, trail braking, a little bit of accelerator, hard brake, down to first. Patient, slowly on the accelerator. No wheel spin out of here, so that's a first get corner obviously. Alright, so now after explaining that, I'll try and put a bit of a lap together. I'm going to drive under the limit, probably try and aim to do like a 22 or something, so 520, hard on the brakes, second gear, release, turn in, smooth on the accelerator as close as we can to the wall, braking down to first, releasing, patient, oh. Alright guys, here we are, setting ourselves up for another hot lap. Ooh, it's taken us a while. So this is all part of learning a track, the frustrations and whatnot. So I think I could do this consistently, but setting a actual 1 lap pace time is something that always eludes me. Anyway, here we go. Setting up for a lap, cutting out as wide as we can, punch it into this wall. Closer we get to this wall, more track we cut. Looking for 500 meters. Hard on the brakes, releasing off the brakes. We can clip a bit of that. Punch accelerator. Be very patient. Try and minimize all that wheel spin. I'm going to try and maximize my rolling through this corner because I don't think there's much benefit to getting my speed, my throttle on early because it's just too bumpy there. No matter how smooth I am, we're just punching out sideways. So anyway, looking for 450. Down to second. Oh no! Throwing away all that lap time. See if we can get it back. Nah. The worst thing is that messy sector 3 is going to be our first 19 of the day, so we'll take it, I guess. I'm going to jump into chase view and we are going to have a look at this lap back in slow motion. See what I did here. Alright, so close as we can come to this wall. We're getting pretty close there. Wouldn't want to cut it any more than that. You'll pick up little tidbits of damage. Alright, here we go. Looking for 510 meters. Hard on the brakes so we can keep our right wheel on that blue line. Go any further to the right of this yellow line and I believe you pick up a slowdown. So right wheel is perfectly positioned here. About the 130 meter mark. We're off the brakes, trailing in. Slightly clipping this curb here. Don't want to go too much higher than that. Don't want to go through the steep bit. On the power as early as we can. Okay, so let's go back a little bit. Slow-mo. As soon as we're straight, it's nearly as soon as we're straight, I'm on the brakes here. Trying to arrest that weight. Very smooth on the throttle. Try not to get too much wheel spin. Let's go back a bit. Alright, so smooth on the throttle, too much wheel spin. Keeping it pretty tight to that wall. I'm not too sure if I could have carried a little bit wider. So we're about 30 meters, about 3 car lengths away from the start of these signs here. On the brakes, giving it a dab of the brakes. As I'm releasing up the brake, we're trailing in, trying to get our nose onto just the start of this lip, which is going to kick us through this corner a little bit. I was actually probably a little bit too far in there. Didn't disrupt the car too much, so hard on the accelerator. Now, I think we are about 4 car lengths back from that start of that sign. We are on the brakes hard, trying to slow down. As we're getting off, probably about a car length, we're turning in, turning in. Now, we're staying a few feet away from this wall, because any closer, and we are getting a slowdown. Alright, so let's jump into a different view of this one. Okay, so you can see my wheels there are a little bit, oh, gone the wrong way. Kind of in the middle of those tracks there. Okay, so that's about where I stuck my wheel. Let's keep going. Smooth on the accelerator, avoiding all that wheel spin. Punching out to this side. Now here, I'm looking for about the 310 meter mark. Braking really hard. Really, really hard here. Seems to work alright. Okay, so 310 feet, I should say. Braking hard, braking in a straight line, punching out towards this wall. Close as we can come to this wall to cut the distance, and about, what would we say here? Maybe the start of these blue signs. What are they? Acura. That's where we're turning in. Now, I'm trying to carry a little bit more speed through this section here. Alright, we're coming pretty close to that wall. Now that's what disrupts our car there. But if we go any wider, we just push out. This is an off-camber corner, really bumpy. And we're just trying to maximize our roll in there. Too easy. Alright. I think that was probably closer. I probably had a bit too much margin here. Probably about 260, 270 here. Braking in a straight line, releasing off the brake, cutting as close as we can to that wall. As soon as I'm off that brake, I'm on the accelerator. So I'm trying to get on the accelerator as soon as we get to this little kink in the wall here, the apex. Smooth again, pushing out towards this wall. Next up, we're looking for the 450 meter mark. My son's looking at the speed. Looking for 450, hard on the brakes, bleeding as much of that speed off as we can. Close as we can get to that wall. Nearly trading paint there. Beautiful. Alright, let's have a look for our turn-in point. So, probably about a car length before the start of that frontier sign, we're turning in. This was a bit messy. I probably could have turned in a little bit earlier, definitely. Definitely a little bit earlier. So I'm actually trying to get my left-hand wheels onto this the checkerbox curbing here. Not the raised curbing. So this was well off. Punched way too wide. So this is about as close as I like to come to that wall in second gear. Holding second through here. Trying to recover it by taking a bit more speed through the corner, adjust my line so that I can not lose as much as I would have if I had have gone to my existing line. Now we're in second. We're just trying to carry a little bit of speed through here. Scrubbing the brakes. Now, as soon as I get straight, I'm hard on the brakes, trying to wipe all my speed. First gear, make sure she's really arrested. Now, this was messy. I was about 3 feet off that wall there. So my turn-in point is about the start of the white kind of raised curb in there. So that's where I'm turning in. I was going a bit too quick. I should have bled a little bit more speed. Alright, smooth on the accelerator. Once again, messy ending. Don't know if I'm going to get any better today. I'll be practicing tomorrow, but that's a lap around Long Beach in a 2014 V8 supercar. Beautiful. Cheers, guys.